We are starting right off with the Karen Watch, as this morning we had some major action. Let's go to the maps. We have the Karen known as Angela. Easy to point out here because it is a round storm structure. As I talked about this morning, this storm is constantly leading to all of the Karen activity in the Big Brother house this summer. Might be worse than the Super El Nino on the way, but behind it you can see that today the Karen known as Haley was the major storm today, with all of the victim tears washing everything in its path. Today, the Karen Haley tried to call out Lala on her behavior last week. That was just so bullying. Lala asked for examples of the bullying. No examples were presented from Haley as evidence, which was to be expected. Lala told Haley that she's trying to create a narrative that she is a bully. Lala said she's definitely not the bully, accused Haley of being the bully, saying that Haley is a passive-aggressive bully. As I have documented on this channel since the beginning of the season, Haley has indeed been trying to paint a narrative about Lala this whole time, that Lala is mean and aggressive. Meanwhile, the likes of Haley, Angela, Drew, Devens early on were doing things to make the house even dirtier to try and piss off Lala. To no surprise, the rotund Karen Angela is in the middle of this today, really trying her best not to take a side, but she's pissed off both Lala and Haley in doing so, both now kind of upset with Angela. I don't know if Lala completely sees that she's getting played by Angela, and Angela's trying to make nice with Haley when Angela's been being the big victim to Lala last week, which is why Lala was trying to defend Angela, but now Lala's being made out to be a bully, allegedly. I do want to bring attention to how down bad this fandom is. Like, the fan base is so down bad, it tried to make themselves believe that Grodner and CBS is not serving up a steaming pile of shit this season with its decision making. I talked about this earlier in the week, that the fandom was acting like Haley staying would save the feeds, and while it gave us an argument this morning, it's in the vein of having to make Lala deal with microaggressions, which is something this show has tried its best to get away from over the past several seasons. But now we're just back to this kind of bullshit. But then we had this loser loudly cheering for Haley last night, which makes house guests believe into the Haley victim narrative.
Big Brother fans, does this sound familiar? Yes! Yes! So, yes, that was me screaming tonight.
This is truly Barrett and Drew like loser behavior here. These are the things that let me know that the IQ is not just low with some of the people in the cast, but a chunk of the fandom as well. Dee had to talk Lala out of going on a full-blown house meeting today. And then when Lala was alone, she talked about how she's being painted as a mean person, and that's not good. That's not good at all. So Taylor and Lala had a talk about the phony fake people in the house that Lala can't stand. I don't know if she was for sure including Angela in those people, but she should have been. Taylor had to be the one there for her. Taylor saying to trust her, let Taylor work this week. Taylor told Lala, trust me and I will pull you through. It is good that these two have each other, because if one of them goes, I could only imagine what kind of villainizing the house will try to do to whoever gets left. Dee today wanted to lie about her power in a threatening way to Yash, even though that's been against Big Brother rules for a very long time. But anything might go for the vets this year. I don't know. Dee had a chat with Yash early today. The feeds kept being cut, though, but she did immediately throw Drew under the bus a bit. I will continue to love how much the vets use Drew as their freaking whipping boy, because he does just take it, so who can really feel sorry for him? Not me. Dee did tell Yash that she would put up Haley and Drew. When Devens and Yash had their conversation, Devens is saying he feels good about the Bermuda Triangle. And you can really see all day today how good of a social game Devens has been playing the past 2 weeks, as opposed to Dee, who's just been sloppy and messy with Angela. But Yash told Devens about his Haley, Angela, and Dee idea, even though he's supposed to be in an alliance with Devens, Dee, and Kamu. Devens did make a remark that, it must be open season on the icons, but at least it's not him. He knew the time would come. Yash also said he knows maybe putting Dee up wouldn't be good for the wolf pack. But Devens was telling Yash that Dee going up as a pawn, she's not going to be happy about it. It would change their relationship. Yash, however, said that Kamu told him that Dee told Kamu recently that Dee doesn't fully trust Yash. I pointed out all of last week that Dee just constantly giving information to Kamu was not only sloppy, but terrible gameplay. And again, it's coming back to bite her in the ass. Devens was trying to point out to Yash that he should be more afraid of Dee coming back than Malady, because Yash is saying those are his two options. But Yash did make a good point that if Dee comes back upset, he feels better with Dee's allies than Malady's allies, who are the Boar 4 and might be more upset with him. I thought Yash did really good in this conversation. I thought Devens, although he was trying to push to save Dee, he wasn't overdoing it, but he was clearly shook. We are finally having to see the vets really play the game and kind of scramble, and I think they're struggling to do it right now. Yash talked to Mallory. I thought Mallory's one-on-one was a struggle, like they typically are with an HOH, because Mallory is usually quite out of the loop because she lets Barrett and Drew always keep her in the dark. That is a Mallory problem. Mallory did say that she doesn't think Barrett talks a lot of game with Dee and Angela, just to show you how lost Mallory is in this game strategy-wise. She still truly believes Barrett when he says he doesn't talk a lot of game with Dee, which is clearly his actual number one. When Devens went near Dee, he did make the statement that it might be time for a big brother bribe. Devens later told Dee that he was pushing for Malady and told Barrett to do the same thing, which is not something Barrett did when he talked to Yash. Dee is saying that she wants to use the bribe to convince Yash to put up Drew, Malady, and Haley. Devens got the idea that if the bribe doesn't work, he wants to offer himself up as a pawn instead of Dee, because he said if he's going to use the diamond power of veto, he'd rather use it on himself than Dee, because then people would see that he and Dee are actually close, which is what I said this morning. Not the best game. I am glad to see Devens thinking about this, that his head is very much in the game when it comes to this power. And if he uses it on Dee, it's actually going to hurt his own game, because he has a lot of good relationships, especially with the current HOH and people that the current HOH are close with. So Devens is in a tough spot in saving Dee this week. He might finally learn to play his own game, but I'll believe it when I see it. It seems this season people are struggling to play their own game. But like I said, Dee wants to go overboard with her bribe, not just say, don't put me on the block this week. She wants to try and give the $5K to Yash to have her own nominees. And her nominees would be Haley, Drew, and Malady. She was talking to Devens about how she needs to get it through to Yash's head that Drew has been throwing Yash under the bus. We'll see if that is successful or not. It hasn't happened on feeds yet this afternoon. But I do think during this conversation, Dee and Devens are finally realizing just how good of a position Kamu is in at the moment. When Angela had a conversation with Yash in the HOH, she used her tears to try and get him to not put her on the block. And her whole pitch was that she will never say Yash's name and never put him up. Yash didn't fall for that, thankfully. Angela has no game. What else is new? Her only game is being a Karen. Of course, Drew went to Dee to tell her that Haley has been saying that people in the group, in the alliance, were targeting him. Kamu just reiterated this to him last night. Plenty of people have started to tell Drew this. I don't know if he fully buys it or not. Until I see Drew actually play a different game, I have to believe he's going to continue to be the puppet for the vets, the whipping boy for the vets. Yash told Barrett in their conversation that Yash doesn't want to touch the guys this week, which annoys me. But I do still think Barrett is currently the main choice for Yash as a backup target or a renom. In his talk with Haley, Yash soft launched the idea that people want Haley on the block again, and he can't go completely against many people, even though he wants to work with Haley. He tried to get through to Haley's thick skull once and for all that Dee and Angela have been the ones lying to her most. And he did say in this conversation that if Haley goes up on the block and she wins the veto, Barrett would be his renom, so that it's, unless the Diamond Power veto is used, it would be Barrett, Angela, Dee left on the block. Who's gonna vote out the tree in the backyard, the tall tree that does nothing in the house? Barrett? Probably no one. I still wish Barrett would go this week, but I can never get Barrett or Drew out of this damn house. Dee was debating whether to make Kamu believe that she's going to use the bribe and hope that Kamu would go to Yash to try and dissuade Yash from nominating her. But she knows that Devens doesn't know that she told Kamu about her power, and she knows that was a big fuck up on her part. And that's been about it. The past hour, I feel like they were cutting the more important conversations for whatever reason. I did say this morning that there was going to be some fuckery, so maybe production is scrambling to save the vets, like the vets are finally scrambling in this game. But like I said, it is nice to finally see the vets have been scrambling today and having to play the game. And so far, I don't think they're playing very well. We did seem to miss Devens really want to pitch to Yash and Kamu about his idea that maybe he will go on the block this week as a pawn. That's because he just wants to be the one to use his diamond veto at the end of the week. I don't know. The vets have themselves in a pickle. We'll see how much production tries to help or how much these powers help.